Welcome back to Hardware Unboxed. Today we're building the best value 1440p gaming PC you can get right now. In separate videos we've looked into what CPUs are the best value today and what GPUs are the best value right now. So basically for today's video we're going to take our recommendations from those past analysis videos, slap in the rest of the components for a budget-oriented PC, and then take a look at how everything is shaping up and what sort of cost you're looking at for a 1440p gaming rig in 2018. So let's start with the CPU. Pretty obvious choice here. You can't go past the Ryzen 5 2600, which is currently retailing for $150 through Amazon. Absolute steal at this price, particularly for 1440p gaming, which won't run into any CPU bottlenecks, but it's also a highly capable productivity chip at this price when you're not gaming. Basically, it's just ridiculous value at $150. I actually don't have a 2600 on hand right now, so we're being a bit sneaky. We're going to use a 2600X instead, but if you're planning to emulate this build, just grab the 2600. It's better value at the moment. For the motherboard, there are so many options on the market for AM4 systems, but the obvious choice for the Ryzen 5 2600 was to go with something B450. You can still overclock on B450, and they're basically the best suited boards for Ryzen 5. You really don't need to go with X470 unless you're after Ryzen 7 or any of its additional features. But for our budget build, B450 is what we want. Anyway, back in our B450 motherboard review roundup, we found that the MSI B450 motherboards are the best from a VRM perspective. So the VRM design and cooling solution allows us to get the most out of our CPU when overclocking. So MSI was the natural choice for this build, and we've gone with the B450M Mortar, which is basically the MATX equivalent of the B450 Tomahawk we found to have the best VRM performance of all the boards we tested. The B450M Mortar is available for around $95, so it's a mid-tier B450 board and provides some features MSI's dirt cheap B450 boards don't provide, like USB-C and 6-channel analog audio. If you're really on a budget, you could probably go as low as the $80 B450A Pro, but I love what the Mortar provides at $95. Plus, with this sort of VRM solution, there's room to upgrade to Ryzen 7 down the line and even dabble in some Ryzen 7 overclocking without needing to go X470. For the GPU, again, the best value option at the moment for 1440p gaming is the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. Several other GPUs are also decent value, like Vega 56, the GTX 1070 and GTX 1080, but right now, the GTX 1070 Ti is the sweet spot. We're using here the basic Gigabyte GTX 1070 Ti. This one is currently selling for $390. In fact, this exact model here, making it the cheapest 1070 Ti on the market and therefore the best value. So hard to go past this exact card here from Gigabyte. In terms of memory, in the past we've discovered the sweet spot for 1440p gaming is 16 gigabytes, and it also tends to be the best value. Currently, a 2x4GB kit of Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR4 3000 will set you back $92, while a 2x8GB kit is $150. 3000 speeds are also a really good sweet spot value-wise for Ryzen systems. 3200 is about $10 more for small gains, but the much slower 2666 is $10 less. So we've opted for a 16GB kit of some Corsair good stuff at $150. We actually have a box for an 8GB kit here. We threw out the box for the 16GB kit we'll actually be using. You could probably get away with 8GB in some situations, saving yourself $60. But again, 16GB is the sweet spot for just the ability to play a wide variety of games without any performance issues. As for the CPU cooler, for budget builders, we honestly just recommend using the Wraith Stealth box cooler that comes with the Ryzen 5 2600. AMD didn't provide a box cooler with our tray review sample, so I got this cheap CryoRig M9A, which costs all of $20 and is probably a bit more effective than the Stealth, although largely should be equivalent. If you want to overclock, consider spending maybe $35 on something like the CryoRig H7 or Arctic Freezer 33, but we'll see how the M9A handles an overclock later if you're interested. For storage, every budget system needs at least an SSD. We're using here the Corsair Force LE200 in a 240GB capacity, but really any $50 or so basic SATA SSD like this will be fine for a budget build's boot drive, and then of course you can add in hard drives or other storage later. For the case, we have here in this big box here, the Corsair Carbide Spec 06. You might be able to see that a bit better there, Spec 06. This beast costs $80, tempered glass side panel, lighting on the front, comes with two 120mm fans, and supports up to a 360mm radiator if you want to go liquid cooling in the future. Basically, we asked for a budget case from Corsair. This is what they provided, but of course there are plenty of great budget cases in the $50 to $80 range, so you can always choose something that better fits what you want visually if you're not pleased with the spec 06. And finally, we have a power supply. Really, you cannot go past this. This is the Corsair CX550M. This thing can be found for as low as $55. It's 80 plus bronze certified and semi-modular, making it basically the perfect PSU for budget builders. So, everything you see here, these are the components that are going into this build. Grand total comes to $970 US, or just a touch over 1,600 Aussie dollars. And yes, that conversion is pretty painful right now for us Aussies. Still, a 1440p gaming rig for under 1,000 US dollars without cutting significant corners is pretty darn good. Of course, we could have gone absolutely dirt cheap and chucked in the Ryzen 3 2200G on an A320 board with 8GB of RAM and saved around $150. But what we've put into this build is going to deliver the best bang for your buck and is hitting all the sweet spots for 1440p gaming without being bottlenecked by RAM or CPU. And thanks to AMD's AM4 platform and MSI's solid B450 offerings, this sort of build is setting you up with a great platform for future upgrades, say things like, Ryzen 7 CPU and of course GPU upgrades, while still delivering great performance today. Enough talk about the components and pricing, let's get into the build. Okay, so everything is now done. You've seen the build, it looks great, it's working really well. Probably going to use this as a B-roll system for our monitor reviews or something along those lines. But really, if you're looking to build a 1440p system where you have around $1,000 to spend, what we've built here is going to give you excellent bang for your buck. If you're interested in what sort of overclocking performance I was able to achieve with this fairly basic air cooler, I'm just about to go do that once I wrap up filming. So I'll put the results on the screen now when I'm editing. Hopefully they're around the screen here somewhere. Did I get a good result? Well, hopefully. Anyway, that's it for this build video. If you want to check the prices for any of the components we used in the build, we have links to them in the description below. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Consider supporting us on Patreon to get access to our exclusive Discord chat, and I'll catch you in the next one.